Honey, let's give this another shot. I know that I believe what you're wrong, 'cause I'm so bored and all good, thinking that my life's just become the same, and everywhere I go it's the same old thing. People looking down in the rain, you're standing in the cold and I'm the rain. I was just so blind that I couldn't see.
Everybody, put your hands together and make a lot of fucking noise for Pat Deering.
All right. So yes, as he said, my name's Pat Deering, and I'd like to tell everybody in this room this evening about a visitor that I had recently. He first landed on the roof, a pitter-patter, came down the chimney, a clitter-clatter. That's where the storybook aspect of it all ends, because it wasn't Santa Claus, it was a 24-pound raccoon. And I don't know if you guys have ever had a large rodent come down your chimney before. You'd think it would be kind of a surprising, sudden event. It's not. It's anything but. It gets up there on the edge of the chimney, it scurries around, it chatters to itself in its bizarre little raccoon language, and then it loses its footing. And it screeches, and it screams, and it crawls and clatters all the way down the chimney for about a good minute and 30 seconds until poof, lands right there behind your golden retriever. Which, as far as I know, when you live downtown Columbus, is the North American raccoon's natural predator. So it does what any self-respecting prey animal would do in that situation. It tries to make an escape. Fortunately for the raccoon, I am what you would colloquially call a huge gaywad. And I have beautiful, beautiful, highly polished hardwood, reclaimed hardwood floors throughout my entire house. They mean the world to me. They're wonderful. Mean more to me than any member of my family, living or dead. So just keep that in mind before you fall down my chimney. So the raccoon is trying to make an escape, and it can't really get any footing. So instead of, darting off into the dining room table or whatever its plan was, it's doing that weird, like, Scooby and Shaggy wind-up thing before they actually start running. It's just... And the dog is scared shitless, but it knows it has to get this raccoon for some reason. It's in the same predicament. It's right behind it, just doing the Velma, just... I'm out on the porch at this point in time, because my living room's now wilder than those streets. Screaming my head off. And this is when things really take a turn for the worse, because this is when two things happen. One, I immediately learned a new thing about raccoons. And I learned it in person as opposed to Wikipedia, where I prefer to learn new things. And that is that one of the defense mechanisms of a raccoon is when you startle them, they poop. So it's not making any progress, it's flailing its limbs around, shitting itself. So it's just this furry, all-natural sprinkler system of the unspeakable. All over my living room. All over the dog. Terrible thing number two is my roommate, Curtis, who typically stays in the attic, notices that there's a bit of a kerfuffle. Thing about Curtis is he's been to Iraq 3 times in his life, and none of them are for business trips. Yep. So he comes charging down the stairs. I'm outside peeking in through the window, and I see he's got this device with him. He points it at the raccoon and pulls this interesting little lever on the bottom of it, and poof, I got the brand new raccoon-themed wallpaper I always wanted. It didn't last too long, though, because the dog sucks and has been licking the walls nonstop ever since. Blood, shit, doesn't matter. She'll be all over that stuff. I guess, though, in the end, there was one little positive, and that's that I no longer have to actually pay attention to the dog. She just entertains herself by sitting in front of the fireplace, staring into it, as if it's just going to dispense rodents for her whenever she needs them. When I actually think about it, though, I should not have been surprised by Curtis's reaction at all. For a long portion of my life, I worked in military benefits, and because the phrase "don't shit where you eat" doesn't mean anything to me, I wound up sleeping with like half the armed forces. Yeah, you wouldn't know it looking from the outside in, but the Pentagon, super gay. It was great. It was a very productive 3 years of my life. So, I do have a day job. Unfortunately, it's in the insurance industry. Yeah, it gets rough in there sometimes. In particular, interacting with my coworkers is a little rough. And, it's for one particular reason. There's one little thing about me I don't like telling them. It's the same thing I told you guys within like 45 seconds of getting up here, like, I'm that rarest of rare of Columbus subspecies, the young white North American homosexual professional. Which is funny because Columbus is also gay as fuck. It's like 70% of the reason I moved here. But I'm in Cleveland. Anyways, I get awkward telling my coworkers about that. Not because there's some kind of like horrible corporate thing going on these days where they're just like, get your sexual deviance out of this cubicle, Pat Deering. That's not allowed. Corporate America loves that stuff these days, you guys. They're all about the D. The big D. Diversity. They love that shit. They eat it up. They have budgets, committees, VPs, all kinds of things. The reason I don't want to tell people, though, is because it is, like I mentioned, a giant insurance company. We all know the horrible stuff that happens because of gay sex. You've heard the right wing. You've heard Pat Robertson. Floods. Hailstorms. Fire raining down from the heavens. Locusts eating your crops. Which is a real bitch for the bottom line if you're the #1 farmer insurer in the United States. Yeah. There is no way you're going in Monday morning head held high knowing full well you're the one that blowjobbed up the last hurricane. Yeah. It's a claims load Deering, they used to call me. Which I think means I got hand jobs that'll flood basements. Which, oddly enough, not covered under your standard Alliant HO8 homeowners policy form. I do laugh about it now, but there were a couple natural disasters that really fucked me up. One in particular was Hurricane Katrina. You might have heard of it. Thing was, Katrina happened, while I was a teenager, while I was first coming out of the closet, first becoming a man, all this, fun, great teenage things, and it was bad. It was a real bad one. We've got a major metropolitan area of the United States under 18 feet of water. 2,000 Americans are dead in their own homes. The Army Corps of Engineers is baffled. And I'm in Trevor Tisler's basement just like, what the fuck is going on out there? Now I try to figure out how to make up for those mistakes. Pat Deering, Weird Insurance. That's it for me, you guys. Thank you.